right pieces in the right spot, they'll win something pretty soon, hopefully in the next couple of years, and get this city a championship that it has been starved of in the last 50 years.
I mean, I definitely agree that there will be championships in this run. I've said my prediction was 2, maybe 3 within 5 years. I think that that's a realistic goal, at least 2 within 5 years. I mean, here's the other thing. When we talk about the East being bad, and I see Vashon in the chat room, I agree with him. Injuries last year affected teams that I think we're looking at a couple of young teams, whether you want to talk about those teams I brought up earlier, Charlotte, Washington, Pistons, the Knicks. All these teams are putting themselves together that the East, I think, I don't want to say 5 years even, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, even Philly in a couple of years with all these assets they've built up. I think 2-3 years from now, it's going to be the opposite. I think the East is going to be ultra competitive because you're going to have a whole bunch of young, hungry, talented teams all kind of growing at the same time. So they're all just going to be nipping and tucking at each other. Maybe they'll all be fighting for the scraps of the Cavs. That's what we can hope for as Clevelanders. But regardless, I do think that this East might be a cakewalk this year. And I don't even want to say cakewalk, but it might be easier, lesser this year. But that's not going to be the case for the next few years. I think the whole conference is getting ready to take a growth spurt together. And you'll have one of those eras where there's 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 teams in the East that can truly compete for that top spot.
Yeah, they very likely could. And Jerry, the thing about the NBA, I think one of the things that makes the NBA great, and this is a sports thing too, there's plenty of turnover from year to year in terms of, who's going to take a step in the right direction, who's going to take a step in the wrong direction. It's so many things that you just cannot take for granted. I mean, there's all kinds of young ability out there. I mean, you look at the Washington Wizards. They really could make a lot of noise this season going forward into the playoffs with the pieces that they've added. They've already got one of, if not maybe even arguably the best front court in the NBA. You got John Wall, you got Bradley Beal. One of the key pieces there is they get Paul Pierce, and a veteran small forward who knows how to win championships. So they're going to be a great team going forward. And like you, I also like Charlotte as well. I think they've got one of the fastest point guards in the league in Kemba Walker. I was really disappointed that they made the trade with Miami to give Miami Shabazz from Connecticut. I thought that combining him with Kemba Walker would have made them a two-man track meet, essentially, when playing the Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of teams in the Eastern Conference that in 2 or 3 years could take that next step. Detroit is one of them. Orlando is another team that is loaded with young talent, and even the Boston Celtics. I mean, they got 2 pretty good guards in this draft, one of them being Marcus Smart from Oklahoma. Rajon Rondo is going to be healthy. If he is going to play for Boston, they'll get something from him. And if not, they'll get some sort of trade pieces for Rondo. So, yeah, going forward, there will be some competition in the East. Cavaliers' window probably isn't as great as we'd like to think it is. That's why it's important for the Cavaliers to win now, because that window of opportunity is going to be so small.
Absolutely. You know what, though? If David Griffin's the right guy, look at San Antonio. That window of opportunity hasn't closed in 15 years. So, not outside LeBron. It's easy to look at LeBron, Kevin Love, and Kyrie, but, get that franchise on the right track. You have a chance to change the course. It's going to be so much fun to watch the journey of this and talk about it. Eddie, thank you so much, speaking of fun, for joining us, because this was a fun conversation, and I look forward to it. We'll catch up throughout the season, man. We'll try to match our schedules up and talk some Cavs hoops as the season rolls on.
All right, Jerry, thanks, and keep in touch. And yeah, I'd love to be aboard sometime soon.
Absolutely. How do people check you out online? How do they look at your articles? How do they find you on Twitter? Give people anything you want to plug real quick on the way out.
Well, the Twitter is at Eddy Jansen 30. Pretty easy plug right there. I'm more than a fan. I post a couple times a week on there, pretty much the next morning after a Cavaliers game. So pretty much any time you log on to morethanafan.cleveland.com, you're going to see something of mine up there, and obviously on this show as well. So all kinds of ways to get into my stuff there.
All right, Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great time, and we will catch up soon.
All right, thanks, Jerry.
You got it. Thanks for being here. Eddie Jansen, and as he said, you guys can check him out, Eddie Jansen 30 on Twitter. You can check him out at More Than a Fan, MTAFcleveland.com. Check out his Cavs articles, and you'll hear him here as well, joining us on the Sports Fix. We're going to take a break, come back. BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners, coming up next here on the Sports Fix.
The way you flip the boards, gotta make it happen. Come on, really rip the chords, gotta make it happen. Come on, Cavs, gotta make it happen. Come on, Cavs, gotta make it.
A public service announcement from the Sports Fix. We here at the Sports Fix and our affiliates would like to apologize for any disturbing verbal actions, but remember, it's better having them trapped in a box than loose on the streets. Public service announcement from the Sports Fix. The Sports Fix, the sports show that cares.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile app need to promote your business. They've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
It's the Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
You love Cleveland, and you already know how much we love Cleveland. You know who else loves Cleveland? GV Art and Design. Everyday fans, you and I wear our pride on our sleeves. Now, you can wear your pride on your chest. GV Art and Design has one of the hottest Cleveland sporting lines. Log on right now to gvartwork.com. Check out all of their fantastic designs. And don't forget, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10, to save 10% on your total purchase. Follow gvartwork.com on Facebook, and remember, GV Art and Design, it's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix.
Hey, everybody. Listen up.
Listen up, guys.
Hey, guys. Listen up.
No one should ever hit a woman.
Not their wife, not their girlfriend, not their date. No woman should have to fear violence.
Especially not from someone they know and trust.
But that's the reality for too many women.
We have to change it.
It's up to each of us, because even one is too many.
Violence against women hurts all of us. Growing up, I was ashamed and afraid of my father when he abused my mom.
The worst abuse of power is when a man raises his hand to hurt a woman. We all have to take responsibility. So if you see someone threatening a woman, step up, speak out, and get help.
Dating violence hurts all of us. So step up and help end it. Because one is too many.
One is too many.
One is too many.
One is too many.
End the violence. Because it's wrong.
Because one is too many.
Hey, Cleveland, this is Tristan Thompson of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're listening to Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, live here on the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock back with you, getting you over the competition and the mountain, like Ozzy's screaming in the background. Fantasy football Players around the world, the guru himself, BJ Rudell, getting ready to join us here. Yeah, you like that? I put the extra pause in there for emphasis. BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners, coming your way. Just a few moments for now. He's on the hotline. Thank you for being back with us. Thanks to Eddy Jansen for joining us in the last segment. Clarification, for those of you that may be looking for him on Twitter, it's at Eddy Jansen 30, but it's spelled EDDY. Jansen, Jansen, and the number 30 on Twitter. Thanks to Eddy for talking Cavs. Again, thanks to the BSK, Kendall Lewis, for being with us earlier on in the show, talking some Browns football as well. Checked my phone during the break, found 37-minute-old text message from Mike Brandenburry. It was like, hey, man, my meeting fell through. I can do the show if you want. I'm like, man, that would have been nice to know about 37 minutes before I actually saw it. Not his fault. He let me know, but not like I could get a chance to check it out. So we will definitely look forward to catching up to Mike here next week. As I said, go into the phone lines, which means you can only use the social media, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com, and we're going to go to the phones because on the hotline, BJ Rudell, author of Fantasy Football for Winners, co-host with me every Thursday here, our own little edition of Fantasy Football for Winners. BJ, how you doing, my man?
Great. J-Rock, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Glad to have you here with us. And, I mentioned this earlier in the show for the regular season, talking about, percentages of the season gone by. It's even more significant for fantasy football because here we sit as we're getting ready to go with week 6. You would easily, even the longest leagues, you are easily closing in on halfway, probably next week for most people, halfway through your fantasy football season.
Yeah, and you start to see people lose interest at this point. Anyone out there is 1-4. You've got about one more week. I'm reading your mind right now. I'm thinking one more week, and then you say, basketball season's starting. I got other stuff to focus on than digging out of a hole. But I tell you, 1-4, it's not too big a hole. You can win 4 your next 5 weeks, which in bye weeks you get to play against guys who might have a tough time filling their rosters. And before you know it, you're right in line, controlling your own destiny. So if you've got great players out there who have been underperforming, they're still great players by and large, and it may just be the law of averages gets you through the next few games.
Absolutely, and let's start talking about, first off, how are you doing in your various leagues here as you're closing in on the halfway point?
I am. I'm 2-3 and 3-2 in my league. I'm not worthy of representing what people should and shouldn't do based on how I have done, but I'm very bullish. In one of my leagues, I had scored. I haven't looked it up, but as of last week, I had scored the most points of every one of my leagues. And then the other one, I've just been repositioning, retooling a little bit as we go so that I can, get ready for the playoffs and have the best team I can have, because there are some guys I picked in my draft who are just no good. That was a draft I did back in late June, which you never want to do a draft in June. You don't know what the players are going to do. You don't know what the preseason looks like. So a lot of it is retooling and of course, playing guys who aren't paying attention. They've got a guy who's questionable, and hoping those guys take a risk, for a guy who's questionable Monday night and plays them and see if that questionable today holds up and the guy doesn't play. Anything you can get to scrounge out a win at this point. I'm just trying to get to about 6-4 and then position myself for that final push.
You know what? You and I usually start this thing looking back at some things we talked about the week before, looking at how some things panned out. Let's talk about both of us getting it wrong here. Thank you, by the way, for what I'm about to mention here. But last week, I after the football games are over, many times I tend to stay off of Twitter. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of the collective Cleveland sports Twitters, if you know what I mean, the fan bases. They drive me crazy, make it hard for me to enjoy it. So I tend to stay off. So then I'll get like a whole bunch of them after the games. So I log on the other day and log on to Twitter, and I got a tweet from BJ that goes, man, good call on Anton Smith there for Atlanta. And I tweeted him back, and I go, well, yeah, it would have been a good call, except after you talked me out of it on Thursday, I moved him out of the way. And so it didn't work out for either one of us. But he, once again, talk about just a fluke of, I don't know, fluke of nature or whatever circumstance. This dude gets 3-4 touches every game and takes one of them 80 yards to the house.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. You know, you could look back probably 20